classes, 4 lecture. We went through the waveguide. Okay, so waveguide applications, advantage, disadvantage. Then we went through the rectangular waveguide. Okay, solution of wave equation in rectangular waveguide. Then we went through the T mode, TM mode, dominant mode. Okay, evanescent mode. All these we have discussed. Okay, power transmission through the waveguide. Okay, and we went through the problem also for TE10 mode. Now, in lecture 5, we will study the circular waveguide. Okay, so circular waveguide, and this is the second, you can say second topic, or maybe first topic, the rectangular waveguide we have, and subset we have 3, 4 topic. After that, this is the second topic, that is called circular waveguide. In this, we have a subset TE and TM mode. Then we will go through the transmission line. Now in the circular waveguide, so first of all, what is circular? Okay, what is circular waveguide and what is circular? So circular means we need the circular cross section. So we have a pipe like a structure, and that will be having the cross section which is in circular in shape. Like in rectangular waveguide, we went through that wherever we cut, the cross section will be rectangle in shape, and that is having a dimension of a and b, a in the x-axis and b in the y-axis. Similarly, here we have a circular waveguide, and cross section will be circular cross section, and the coordinate will be the rectangular coordinate. So, sorry. Okay. Yeah. So this will be rectangular coordinate, and that will be r phi z. Okay. So already you are familiar with rectangular coordinate. Now we have a plane wave propagating through a circular waveguide, and that results in TE and TM mode. So here the plane wave which is propagating through circular waveguide, that results in TE and TM mode. Here also TEM mode will not exist. We'll see why TEM mode will not exist. Although we will see the analysis. Okay. So for TEM also. So there will be a cutoff frequency, and the wave will not propagate. So dominant mode for the circular waveguide is TE11. There it was in rectangular waveguide, we had a TE10 mode. Okay, subject to condition that A should be greater than B, and there we had a TE10 was the dominant mode. Dominant mode. So what is dominant mode? Dominant mode, the mode which is having the least cutoff frequency. Okay, the least cutoff frequency, that will be called dominant mode. Now we have a solution of wave equation in cylindrical coordinate. Like we have went through the solution of wave equation in the rectangular coordinate. So now we will see the solution of wave equation in cylindrical coordinate. So we have a cylindrical coordinate system in r. Okay, that's called radius of the radius in the cross section, we can see, and z is the height of the cylinder, and phi, which is making the angle phi with the sheet. Okay, so wherever we cut the cut along the z axis, so that will make the angle of phi. And for reference, we also given the rectangular coordinate system, that is x, y, z. Now we have a scalar Helmholtz equation, a scalar Helmholtz equation in cylindrical coordinate, which is given with del square psi is equal to gamma square psi. And we can see in rectangular coordinate, del square can be represented 1 by r, del by del r del psi upon del r, and psi will be associated with this del square, that is a scalar. And plus 1 by r square del square psi upon del phi square plus del square psi upon del square is equal to gamma square psi. So that is written in rectangular, so that is written in cylindrical coordinate system. Okay, so del square psi can be represented here in this form. Now you can say we can have a solution, and we cannot be able to find directly, we cannot be able to find mathematically by solving all these equation without knowing the psi value. We will not be able to find the solution of psi, because we don't know the different parameters which is given here, the gamma square, the r, and different parameters which is used here. So we will take variable separable method, and using the variable separable method, solution will be assumed to be, that will be a function of r as well as phi as well as z. So that will be a function of r phi z. Okay, so we'll assume in that way, which is used in a rectangular coordinate system. In that rectangular coordinate system, we had taken the psi is equal to x of x, y of y, z of z. Okay, so x, y, z. Here we will say r, phi, and z. So using variable separable method, psi can be taken as r of r. R will be a capital R will be a function of r, and this phi will be a function of phi, and z will be a function of z. Now we will substitute this psi value in equation number 1, which we had here. So in this we will substitute and we will try to find what is the value of r, phi, and z. Okay, so we will substitute psi. So here we have substituted in the equation number 1, and just because here gamma square psi is there, you just divide both sides by psi, and just put psi is equal to r, phi, and z. So we have taken division. Okay, substitute psi in equation number 1 and divide both sides by psi. So 1 by r phi z, and that is written 1 by r del upon del r into r del upon del r into r phi z plus 1 by r square del square by del phi square r phi z plus del square by del z square r phi z. Now you take, because it is a partial differentiation, so we can take all the other term except r, we can take outside, because that is not that is a partial differentiation, so that will be act as a constant value. So phi z will become outside. So this we will get phi z, and this phi z will be cancelled out. So we will get r if we multiply with this term. Now this r phi z will multiplied with this term also, and here we will get outside that r and z, because phi will be a function of phi. So phi will be there, and r and z will be exclusively a function of r and z. So that will be come outside, and that will be divided with the r phi z. So we'll get here only phi. Now similarly here r and phi will be outside, and this r phi will cancel, we'll get 1 upon z. So we'll get 1 upon r del upon del r into del r by del r plus 1 upon r squared phi del square phi upon del phi square plus 1 by z del square z upon del z square is equal to gamma square. So this we have taken equation number 2. Now you can see the RHS of equation number 2 is a constant value. This term is a constant. This term is a constant. Gamma is a constant value. So it is a propagation constant. So if you take this as a constant value, so that means all the term will be a constant value. So that means this will be a constant, this will be a constant, this will be a constant. There you remember in a rectangular waveguide, we had taken this as a minus kx square minus ky square minus kz square. And there we have taken this as a kc, kx, ky is a kc, and this is a gamma g. So if you remember, then you can easily correlate and you can understood. Okay, very easily. So now you can see this all these term as a constant value, because in the RHS we have a constant, so LHS all the term will be constant. We'll take one by one term, and we will equate with a constant term. So now we take 1 by z del square z upon del z square is a gamma g square. So we equate this third term with a gamma g square. Gamma g is also a constant value. So we take del square z upon del z square is equal to gamma g square into z. This z will come here, and that will get this value. So if you take this here, we have a positive sign. So if you take the solution of this differential equation, the second order standard differential equation. So by CFPI, you can find out the differential equation solution. So this Z, the solution for Z will comes out to be A e to the power minus gamma g into Z plus B e to the power gamma g into Z, where gamma g is equal to propagation constant in the waveguide. Now you can say, sir, we have A e to the power minus gamma g into z and plus B e to the power gamma g into z, where gamma g is equal to propagation constant. So that means there will be a propagation. Z is the propagation direction. Z will give you the propagation direction. So that means here minus sign is there. That means the propagation is in positive Z direction. Here positive is there, so that you can understand that the propagation is in negative Z direction. Okay. So here you have this positive Z, here minus if you take out, so that will be minus. So this is propagation in minus Z direction. So if you consider the propagation, see, propagation will be either in positive Z direction or either in negative direction. So if you consider positive Z direction, so you will take Z is equal to this term only. If you take positive Z direction, so you will take Z term is this only. But if you write complete solution, the complete solution will be this one. Okay. So we have got the solution of this third equation. Now we will go for the solution of the second equation. Okay, and we will substitute Z value here, and we will try to find out. So we can substitute here the third term. that is 1 by z, that is third term which we have 1 by z del square z upon del z square, that can be represented as gamma g square. So I'll represent here as a gamma g square. So just I have represented this as a gamma g square. Now this whole equation which is multiplied with the r square. Okay, so just take gamma g square in equation, substitute gamma g square in equation number 2 and multiply the resultant by r square. So all the equation which is multiplied with the r square, why r square you have multiplied? So let me tell you. So see, in this equation, if you see, this was the exclusively in terms of z. So we can take this term as a constant value and we can equate with the in terms of z, and we can find easily the solution. But in this equation, you can see r square is there. So you need to omit this r square. You need to eliminate this r square. So to eliminate this square, we need to multiply r square with both the side of this equation. So that's why we have substituted this with the gamma g square, and we multiplied with the r square in both sides of this equation, so that this will vanishes, and that second term will be exclusively in terms of phi. So this term is exclusively in terms of phi, and we got this equation. Now you can see, if you take it this r square gamma square, if you take this side and you take the negative sign outside, so this will become gamma square minus gamma g square. I'll tell you why I have written this one. Okay, so this is the term which is written here. Now in the above equation, second term is a function of phi only. You can see function of phi only. So it can be evaluated with a constant minus n squared. So we have taken this as a constant value, and this is equated with a minus n squared. This is also a constant. Okay, so if you take this as a constant, so that will be equated to the minus n squared, because this term is all term, the all will be multiplied, all will be added or maybe subtracted, and we'll get 0. That is a constant value. So this is also a constant term. So this is also a constant term. Now this constant term is equal to the minus n square, and this phi will come here. And if you find the solution, you will get here minus sign is there. So we'll get by CFPI, you can find out an sin n phi plus bn cos n phi. So we'll get this solution. Okay, this is a standard solution which we have. Okay, so if you see, we'll get d square x upon dx. See, this is the exclusive now in terms of phi. So you can simply change del square in terms of d also, partial with the d also. If you take this one, phi is a function of phi only, so you can simply change this differential function with the this partial differential function with the differential function also. So you can get d by dx square, d square x upon dx square, where x is a function of x, which is equal to minus k into x. If you take this one, minus k square x. So if you have this type of solution, so you'll get solution of x solution of x will be written in terms of this one. Solution of x will be written as simply a into sine kx plus b sine kx, b cos kx. So that is the solution which we have, and we just found out the solution will be, comes out to be phi solution will be this one. Now if you take this minus n square here and you substitute here, and here also the equation which is given here, so you will get in terms of r del upon del r del r by del r, or plus minus n square minus this term that will be there. Okay, so and you take r as a outside, so just multiplied with the r. Okay, multiplied with the capital R. So we got this type of equation. Why we have taken? Because we will equate this term with some other constant term. So that's why we have written r here. Now you take this gamma g square is equal to gamma square plus kc square. Already you know these things. Okay, gamma g square is equal to gamma square plus kc square, where kc square is equal to gamma g square minus gamma square. So now you can write here. So this can be written as gamma square minus gamma g square as a kc square, and you can substitute here. So this gamma g square minus gamma square is equal to kc square, or you can do gamma square minus gamma g square is equal to minus kc square. So just substitute, you take kc square into r square minus n square into r is equal to 0. Now this equation is not in terms of direct differential equation which we can solve easily, which we did for the previous two equation. So this is not that simple which we had. Okay, So this equation, because here the partial differentiation r del upon del r into r del upon del, because this is not the direct second order differential equation. This is a function of r with a function of this differential function. So this is in the terms of Bessel equation. Okay, so we can write above equation is a Bessel equation of order n. Okay, order n in cylindrical coordinate. Okay, so in cylindrical coordinate we had this is a Bessel equation. Okay, and this is this kc square minus gamma square, sorry, kc square plus gamma square can be called as a gamma g square, which is called as a characteristic equation of Bessel function. Okay, so if you find out the solution of this Bessel equation, so directly we have, if you go through this Bessel equation of order n, and you will be able to find out the solution. So you will get, this is a standard Bessel equation, and you will able to find out the solution of this r, which is comes out to be this one, r is equal to Cn Jn Kcr plus Dn Nn Kcr. What is this Jn? Jn is a function, Nn is also a function. Okay, so Jn is a function of nth order Bessel solution of first kind and nth order Bessel solution of second kind. So this Nn, or you can say whole term will be order of second kind, or you directly you can say Nn Kcr, and Jn Kcr is a nth order Bessel solution of first kind, and this is nth order Bessel solution of second kind. How first order Bessel, first kind of Bessel solution look alike? How second kind of Bessel equation Bessel solution look like? We will see in the next slide. But this is the solution for R, okay, which we have got from Bessel equation. Now you can see the overall Helmholtz equation for the cylindrical coordinate will comes out to be psi is equal to r of r. We had na psi is equal to r of r into we had phi of phi, okay, and we had z of z. Okay, so we will substitute r of r here, phi of phi here, and z of z in this equation, and we can have only one term, whether it is in a positive z direction or it will be a negative z direction. We will see. Okay, we will apply the boundary condition also, and we'll try to reduce this term, which we did in this differential, which we did in rectangular coordinate system. Okay, so so now we have a solution for psi. Now you can see this is the Bessel of first kind, and this is the Bessel of second kind. This is the first kind. Okay, and this is the Bessel function of second kind. Okay, so this is the graph which is shown here, the graph which is shown here. You can also see this Jn Kcn, the value of Jn Kcn, this is the value of Jn Kcn is shown here. There is also value of Jn Kcn is shown, argument of Jn Kcr, Jn Kcr is shown here. So this is the Kcr, which is this axis, here also Kcr in this axis, and Nn Kcr is represented in this one. So now you can see this Bessel of first kind Jn Kcr, n is ranging from 0, 1, 2, 3, ... 4, 5, something like this, Hana? It is represented in this way. So if you increase the j value, now first of all j naught will be graph will be like this, and that is represented in this way, oscillatory function, and j naught is starting from 1. Okay, j naught will be starting from 1, and j1 will be starting from this point. Okay, 0 point. Okay, this 0 point here, it will be starting from this point. J1 will be again this one, so J1 will be this one, J2 will be this one, again J3 will be this one. Here you can also see J1, J2, J3, J4 is represented here, and the value will be, we will see the value, exact value what we had. Similarly, for Bessel function of second kind, we have a second kind Bessel function. This is starting from minus infinity, and it is going to somewhere here, and this is a y0 graph. This is a y1 graph, this is a y2 graph, y3 graph, y4 graph. It is represented here. So all these y0, y1, y2, y3, or you can say n0, n1, n2, n3, which we have n0, n1, n2, n3, all these starting from minus infinity. It is coming from minus infinity. Okay, so at Kcr value of 0, if you take r equal to 0, if you substitute r equal to 0, so that Kcr will become 0. So at 0 you can see it is going to minus infinity, but at 0 you have some solution, that is j0, some solution is there. Okay, some value is there. Okay, as soon as if you increase the n value, you will get the reduced value of at r equal to 0, you will get reduced, but Gn Kcr is there, it is existing. So at r equal to 0, KCR equal to 0, from the graph it is clear that Nn KCR approaches to infinity, so Dn should be equal to 0. So if Nn KCR approaches to be infinity, so if you see here, this Nn KCR reaches to infinity at r equal to 0, it is reaches to infinity. So this solution should not be infinite. This solution will become infinite if you take r equal to 0. If you take r equal to 0, the solution will become infinite. So to have the finite solution, or finite solution, or you can say finite field existing in the waveguide, so that means this should be a finite value, or solution should be finite. So to have this finite solution, Dn should be equated with the 0, because this will maybe become infinite. So to infinite will be multiplied with the 0, this will become vanished. So we'll get only Cn, Gn, KCR. So we'll get this will be vanished, and the for field to be finite, okay, at r equal to 0. So we'll get An, and another alternative we have. So we got only Jn KCR, okay, we got Jn KCR. Now we get trigonometric manipulation we will do. So we had An sine n phi, Bn cos n phi. So can we equate with the trigonometric identities, and we take An sine n phi plus Bn cos n phi, and that can be trigonometric manipulation by using this one. We can take root under An square plus Bn square cos n phi plus tan inverse of An by Bn. And this can be represented a function of this can be represented as some constant value, that is a function of n. So that will be Fn cos n phi, and that is represented by Fn cos n phi. So if you take this cos n phi here, and this Fn, and whatever the Cn will be there, Cn, Fn, and that will be multiplied with this, and that will be equated to the psi naught, okay. So this is a constant value, that will be psi naught Gn KCR cos n phi, and that will be in positive wave propagating in positive z direction. So that's why we have taken this term only, okay. So we have got the solution of Helmholtz equation, that will be comes out to be psi is equal to psi naught Jn KCR, okay, cos n phi. You should remember this one, minus j beta g z. This is the solution we have. This is solution of wave equation, solution of wave equation in cylindrical coordinate. Okay, so this is the solution we will use, okay, while we are solving the TE and TM mode. Okay, I hope you have understood these derivations, solution of wave equation in cylindrical coordinate. This is quite similar with this one rectangular coordinate, okay, but the thing is little bit different. Here we are equating the constant term, and we are just taking that is a constant value, that should not be a function of that one, another variable, that should not be a function of another variable, and we are just taking we are separately finding the z solution for z, solution for phi, and solution for r, where we are getting this solution for r is in terms of Bessel function, and we are equated with the at r equal to 0. We are checking that will become infinite. This second kind become infinite at r equal to 0. So Dn should become 0, and that can be taken as Cn, r is equal to Cn Jn KCR, and Cn will be multiplied with this whatever we have a root under An square plus Bn square. So that will be multiplied with this one. Okay. Now I hope you don't have any doubt. If you have any doubt, please let me know. If you have any doubt, please let me know. Otherwise I will move further. Okay. If you have any doubt, please let me know. You can interrupt anytime. See, now we have transverse electric mode in circular waveguide. Okay. So already we know transverse electric mode. So transverse electric means Ez component should be equal to 0 and Sz should not be equal to 0. So if Sz is not equal to 0 means this magnetic field component in Z direction, that will be responsible to carry out the energy from one point to the another point. So Hz is taking the energy to carry out throughout the waveguide, okay, throughout the circular waveguide. So here Ez is equal to 0, Hz should not be equal to 0. Now we have a Helmholtz equation, and that is del square Hz is equal to gamma square Hz. And the solution for Helmholtz equation, we know that solution for Helmholtz equation is psi is equal to that we had got psi naught Jn Kcr, okay, cos n phi e to the power minus j beta g into z. So if you take this solution, we have a, here hz in there it was a psi, so we have written in terms of psi. Here we have a hz, so solution of hz which comes out to be h naught z jn kcr cos n phi e to the power minus j beta g in z, and we assume that the wave is propagating plus z direction. Now we have a Maxwell curl equation in frequency domain. So curl E is equal to minus j omega mu h and curl h is equal to j omega epsilon h. Already you know curl E is equal to minus del B upon del T. Okay, so you can find out from here, and you can take this in the frequency domain. So that would be minus j omega B, and B can be written as j omega mu into h. B can be written as mu h. So that's what it is in j omega mu h, and curl h is equal to j omega epsilon h. Now we will try to find out this curl. You have curl equation. So we'll try to find out curl in rectangle in cylindrical coordinate system, and we'll try to find out this ex, er, e phi, and ez. So curl equation in cylindrical coordinate system can be written directly here, and it is we have taken 1 by r outside, so that can be written as ar r a phi az and del upon del r, okay, del upon del phi, del upon del z. Otherwise, if you want to write, you can go through this also. You just multiply 1 by r inside, so we'll get 1 by ar vector divided by ar cap divided by r. Here r will be vanished, and here 1 by r will be there. So either both the way, if you want any way, you can represent and you can find out. So we take this curl equation in terms of this matrix or this determinant form, and we'll try to find out the minor of these, and we take equate with the ar, a phi, and az, and we'll try to find out this three equation. Similarly, we can go through the curl h equation, and we'll take curl h. Okay, 1 minute. This will be h. This will be hr, h phi, and hz. Okay, I'm sorry. So if you take this one, you take ar cap, r a phi, az, del upon del r, del upon del phi, del upon del z, hr, r, h phi, and hz. And if you take this curl h equation, you will get three equation by equating ar, a phi, and az. You got these three equation 1, 2, 3, and you got these three equation. I hope no need to explain all these things. You can find the minor, and you can equate with the AR. Already we have completed, we have done in rectangular coordinate system. Okay, so or TE mode in rectangular waveguide. Already we did these things. So you will be able to do the things. Okay, so you can find out very easily. See, there also we got the sixth equation, and basically we are focusing on these two equation and these two equation, not the last equation. We just focus on these two equation, and we will be able to find out all these the six equation, six field equation by substituting Ez equal to 0 and del upon del z is equal to minus j beta g. So first of all, we know how we have del by del z is equal to minus j beta g. So to have this, we will do some background, and we will do the work background work, and we have E. Let us assume the electric field which is moving in z direction. So electric field E can be represented as E naught e to the power minus j beta g into z. So if you differentiate with respect to z, you will get del E upon del z is equal to E naught e to the power minus j beta g into z and minus j beta g. So this term is nothing but again E, whatever we have. So this can be written minus j beta g into E. So you have del E upon del z is equal to minus j beta g into E. So that means del upon del z is equal to minus j beta g. By equating, we can find out del upon del z is equal to minus j beta g. So we can substitute wherever del by del z is there, we can substitute minus j beta g, and wherever Ez is there, we can equate with the 0. Already we have assumed for the transverse electric field, Ez component is 0. So Ez is equal to 0. So then the above six equation can be written as this beta g E phi is equal to minus omega mu hr. Why this so? So let me have this one, huh? Del upon del z is equal to minus j beta g, and this Ez is become 0, so this whole term will become 0. If this will become 0, this whole term will become 0, so this minus and minus sign will become cancelled, and this del upon del z is equal to minus j beta g, so minus j, and this j will be cancelled, this minus minus will become plus, so beta g E phi is equal to omega mu hr, so beta g E phi is equal to omega mu hr. Similarly, if you be able to find, so this will become 0, and del upon del z minus j beta g er, so minus j will cancel, the beta g er is equal to omega mu h phi. So beta g er is equal to omega mu h phi. I will not need this equation, but you can write if you want. You can carry out, if you want to carry out 6 equation, you can carry out, but we don't need this equation. We will not require, okay, because we will try to write these equation in terms of hz. So here we have three function, so we cannot proceed with this one. Okay, so we will take, excuse, we will take these two equation and these two equation. Okay, so now you can see in this equation we will have we don't have Ez here, so this term will be written as it is, and this term del upon del z can be written minus j beta g minus minus will become plus. So 1 upon r del upon del phi hz plus j beta g h phi, which is equal to j omega epsilon into er. And similarly we have del upon del upon hz del hr upon del z, so that can be del by del z can be minus j beta g into hr minus del upon del r into hz, which is equal to j omega mu epsilon, j omega epsilon into e phi. Now this will become Ez, which is equal to 0, and this can be written again. We don't need this one, we need this one and this one. Now you can see this is a function of E phi and HR. So this equation is a function of E phi and HR. Now here, this is also, this equation is a function of E phi and HR, E phi and HR. So we can use, take this equation by using substitution method. We will be able to find out this equation in terms of HZ. This in terms of HZ, we can find E phi as well as HR by using substitution method. So we will be able to find out. Similarly, these two equation we can take here ER and H phi, here also ER and H phi is there. So these ER and H phi can be found out in terms of HZ. So ER and H phi is there, we can find out in terms of HZ. So we will be able to find out in terms of HZ. We have found out ER and E phi and HR and H phi, and already we know HZ, already we know EZ, already we know. Okay, so we got in terms of edge, but till now we have not got the exact solution of ER, E phi, HR, H phi. Okay, although we got EZ and HZ, SZ already we know from the initial equation, and EZ already we know from that transverse electric mode EZ should be equal to 0. So now we will be able to take by applying the boundary condition. Before going to the boundary condition, the Kc square, the wave vector Kc square should be equal to omega square mu epsilon minus beta g square. Already this is similar to the rectangular coordinate system. Okay, so RCS we have same sheets. Now we have the boundary condition. We will try to find out the boundary condition. Take out the boundary condition, and in boundary condition says the tangential component of electric field. Okay, the tangential component of electric field, that is nothing but E phi should be equal to E phi should be equal to 0, and the normal component of HR, that should be equal to 0 at inner wall of the surface, inner surface of the circular waveguide. So inner surface of the circular waveguide, that means this is the waveguide, this is the circular waveguide, and inner surface will be having the dimension of, that is called R is equal to A. So that is having the dimension R is equal to A, and it must vanish. We have assumed that R equal to A at some point the inner surface will be there, and that length is called A. So R is equal to A. There we have assumed that, okay, A and B, the X dimension will be A and Y dimension will be B. So here we are assuming that R dimension will be A. So it should be must vanish. So we got E phi should be equal to 0. E phi should be equal to 0 at R equal to 0. Okay. Again, I'll let you know tangential component of electric field. Tangential component of electric field. Okay, that is in the phi direction. That is E phi, and the normal component of the electric field, that normal component is the magnetic field, that is HR, must vanish at inner surface of the wall or inner surface of the circular waveguide, that is at r equal to a. So E phi is equal to 0 at r equal to a and HR equal to 0 at r equal to a. So that means both should be vanished. If you take E phi is equal to 0 here in this equation, you can take E phi is equal to 0. So what will happen? Okay, 1 minute, huh? E phi is equal to 0 here. E phi is equal to 0 if you take the del Hz upon del R, that should be equal to 0 at r equal to a. So del Hz upon del R is equal to 0 at r equal to a. Similarly, if you take HR is equal to 0 at r equal to a, if you take HR is equal to 0 now, so del Hz upon del R, that is equal to del Hz upon del R, that is equal to 0 at r equal to a. Okay, so now we got del Hz upon del R at r equal to a, okay, which is equal to h naught z g and dash, because we know hz is equal to h naught z, okay, j n k c a cos n phi e to the power minus j beta g into z. So we can differentiate this one. So see, we are differentiating with respect to r na, see r, this one r. So we are differentiating with respect to r, so all other term will be, take it as a constant. So this term will be differentiated. So now this is differentiated j n dash kc a. Okay, if you want, you can take this as a h naught dash, h naught z dash. So this will become j n dash kca. Okay, and that should be equated with the v, because at r equal to a we are equated with 0, because we got this as a r and r is equal to a, we have substituted. So that means this term should be equal to 0. So we know this is a constant term, this is also a constant term, this is also a constant term. This will not be, or you can say this will not be 0, because if this will become 0, the field will not propagate. Here this will not, this is also not equal to 0. So now this term should be equal to 0. So we take Jn dash kca should be equal to 0. And Jn dash indicate the derivative of Jn, the Bessel function, the derivative, that is called Jn dash. Okay. So this should be equal to 0. Now if this is 0, now we will try to take, this is an oscillatory function. Jn kca was the oscillatory function, or that was existing like this. Okay, that was existing like this. Okay, that was existing like this. So this is j0, j1, j2, that is nothing but this one, huh? So that is an oscillatory function. If you differentiate oscillatory function, we'll get again oscillatory function. So that will be in terms of oscillatory only. Okay, so jn dash kc is also oscillatory function. So if this is an oscillatory function, there should be some root or some zeros which is existing, roots which is existing. So if the roots is existing, and that root is written in terms of here, and that is represented in table. Okay, table form it is represented here. So that is represented in table form, and you can see J and KCA for some lower value of n is tabulated here. Okay, that is nothing but here it is given here k pth root, yani ki number of zeros that is represented here. So how many zeros are represented? The first zero, second zeros, third zeros, fourth zeros, that is represented at some different value of n. So at n equal to 0, these are the different zeros which is represented here. At n equal to 1, these are the different zeros. At n equal to 2, these are the different zeros. N equal to 3, that is the different zero. N equal to 4, that is a different zero. So these are the zeros which is represented here. Okay, that is the different zeros which is represented here. Now this is for Gn dash. I am talking about Gn dash, not Gn kca. This is a Gn dash kca. Okay. So that means if you're taking any value, if you take this one, G naught dash, if you want to take. So G naught dash, the first zero will exist here, the second zero will exist here, the third zero will exist here, the fourth zero. Similarly, like this, the zeros will be existed here. Okay, at n equal to 0, I'm talking about J0. So that is, you can see the first zero is at 3.82, that is an increasing value, 7.06, 10.173, 13. 3 to 4, that is the zeros which is existing here. At n equal to 1, so j1 will be somewhere here. Okay, somewhere here. The first zero will be 1.841, second zeros will be somewhere at 5.331. So that will be existing. So these are the first n equal to 1, the first zero, second zero, third zero, fourth zero will existing, and similarly for n equal to 2, these zeros are existing. Okay. So now you take this value as a x, capital X np. You take it as x np. okay, XNP, or here it is a XNP dash because it is a GN dash now, so this will be KCA, so that will be XNP dash. So XNP dash is equal to KCA, and therefore KC can be written as XNP dash divided by A, okay, where N is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and P is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is the thing which is written here. Now you can see you should remember P should not be equal to 0 because zeroth 0 cannot exist. We cannot take zeroth 0, means 0 number 0, where is 0 number zeros or 0 number root? So there is 0 number root means there is no root at all. There is no root. So that means there should not be a solution. So P should be starting from 1 and N should be starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. So it is in X dash NP form. So your PE will be existing in this form, PE NP form, TE NP form. Okay. So here, equation number 18, this equation number 18 can be substituted. Okay. So here, okay. So this HZ can be substituted in all these 13, 14, 16, 17, and we can find out by differentiating these del upon del R. So just put and find out. Okay, so we take this and we found out the ER should be equal to E on R Gn K X N P dash R upon A sine n phi e to the power j beta g into z. Why sine n phi? Because you can see here that is represented, that is differentiated in terms of phi. So Hz is differentiated in terms of phi. Hz is having phi value is a cos n phi. So if we differentiate, we'll get sine n phi. Okay. Similarly, h phi also it is differentiated in terms of phi. So h phi also you should get in terms of hr. Hr also you'll get in terms of sine phi. H phi or hr? It is wrong, na? Hr should be, you should get hr, h phi. It is wrong here. It is wrong here. It should be h phi should be equal to sine n phi. This is sine n phi, and this is cos n phi. That will be as it is. Okay. So that is written here, and now you will tell, sir, we have written this one. Can we write here in term without writing by? We can write h naught r here without writing this one. Yes, we can. This can be written as h naught phi, But we have written in terms of e naught r by zg. Why we have written? Because we know the wave impedance zg should be equal to er by h phi and minus e phi by hr. There it was not there in rectangular coordinate. There it was zg is equal to ex upon hy, or we had ey upon hx. I told you that you have x, y, and z. If you take x to y, that will be positive, and if you take y to x, that will be negative. Similarly, we have r, phi, and z. If you take it out from r phi, so er upon h phi, er upon h phi, so that will be okay. If you take e phi upon hr, so that will be negative sign, e phi upon hr, so that will be negative sign. So that's what it is written. If you want to find that is hr, so hr can be written as a minus e phi upon zg. So minus e naught phi upon zg, that is written here. Similarly for h phi, e naught r upon zg, that is written here. Okay. So that is all about the solution of TNP mode, TNP mode in circular waveguide. Okay, so that is written here. Now we'll go through a few definitions and a few formula. We can go through this. So we have mod propagation constant beta g. Already we know beta g square is equal to omega square mu epsilon minus kc square. So beta g can be written as omega square mu epsilon minus kc can be written as kc is nothing but xnp dash, okay, divided by a. So if you substitute here, you can write xnp dash divided by a ka whole square. Okay, so that is nothing but beta g. Now if you go for cutoff wave number, that is kc. So cutoff wave number mode propagation constant vanishes, and kc should be equal to xnp dash upon a, that is written as omega c square root of mu epsilon. Why this one? So why this? So this can be seen here. So if you have a cutoff wave number, so at cutoff wave number, the wave will not propagate at all. So beta g should be equal to 0. So that means kc, or you can say 0 is equal to omega c square mu epsilon minus kc square. Okay, so you can write here Kc square is equal to omega c square mu epsilon. That's what it is written. Kc is equal to omega c root under mu epsilon. Okay, that is written from this equation. So at cutoff wave number, at cutoff, the wave will not propagate. There will be no propagation constant. Now we have a cutoff frequency of a TE mode in circular waveguide. So at cutoff frequency, okay, the circular waveguide cutoff frequency, the mode, the wave will not propagate, and wave is just starting to propagate. Okay, so just above the cutoff frequency, the wave will start to propagate. So FC should be equal to xnp dash upon 2 pi a root under mu epsilon. How we got this one? We have above equation, you can see kc can be written as omega c square root of mu epsilon. Okay, so from this equation we can also find out that omega. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So you can see here, this can be written as, I hope till now it is clear. Till now it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have omega square mu epsilon, and if beta g is equal to 0, we can equate omega square mu epsilon can be written as x dash np divided by a. So here we can write x dash np divided by a. So that can be written as x dash np divided by a. Okay, change the color. Okay, x dash np divided by a. X dash np upon a. So can we have, if beta g is equal to 0, that will be a cutoff frequency, omega c is equal to cutoff, or kc is equal to x dash np by np upon a. If it, you should take a square. So if you write, you write it from omega c now. So omega c is nothing but 2 pi fc. So omega c is nothing but from here also you can write, or from here also if you want you can write. So omega c can be written as 2 pi fc, can be square root of mu epsilon, which is written as x np dash upon a. So here we can write fc should be equal to x np dash upon xnp dash upon 2 pi a into square root of mu epsilon. So that is nothing but cutoff frequency. Okay, that's what it is written here. There it was for rectangular waveguide, we had a cutoff frequency 1 by 2 pi or 1 by 2 root under mu epsilon. Okay, and we had m by a whole square. Pi get cancelled, that's why m by a whole square plus n by b whole square. So you should remember these formulas where we can apply this formula or where we can apply this formula. So for this is for circular waveguide, this is for rectangular waveguide. Now we have a phase velocity for the wave propagating in waveguide. So that is called as a Vg. And if you want to see the unbounded or the propagating in unbounded dielectric, that's called phase velocity Vp. So this Vp can be written as 1 by root under mu epsilon. That can be written as c by square root of mu r into epsilon r, where c is equal to 1 by root under mu naught into epsilon r. Already you know, which is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Now this Vg, the phase velocity in the waveguide, which is can be written as omega by beta g, and omega by beta g can be written as Vp upon square root of 1 minus fc by f ka whole square. That's what it is written in rectangular waveguide. It's similar to rectangular waveguide. Okay, no changes here. Also, this is not this will not change. This is similar to the rectangular waveguide. So lambda divided by 1 minus fc by f ka whole square, and lambda is equal to Vp by f. Already this is dictated to you. Okay, and Zg is equal to wave impedance is equal to omega mu by beta g, which is equal to eta divided by root under 1 minus fc by f ka whole square. That is for TE, and that's for TM mode, eta into 1 minus fc by f ka whole square. Okay, so this is for TE mode. This is for TE mode. Keep in mind that z is equal to eta root under 1 minus fc by f ka whole square. If you take for TM mode now, that z become eta into square root of 1 minus fc by f ka whole square, where eta is equal to square root of mu by epsilon. And if this is for intrinsic impedance, we can say eta is equal to 120 pi. That's called 370 ohm. Okay, so that's what you can go through these formulas. And while solving the problem now, we will need this xnp dash table, and we will require. Now I told you that we had see initial start in the starting of the class. I told you one of the thing that here, huh? Yeah, dominant mode of the circular waveguide is TE11 mode. Okay, so TE11 mode is a dominant mode. So what is dominant mode? Dominant mode, the mode which is having the least cutoff frequency. I'll let you know. Okay, this is for rectangular waveguide. TE10 is for rectangular waveguide. Okay, dominant mode for the rectangular waveguide, and TE11 is the dominant mode for the circular waveguide. So you can see here. Okay, you can see this table. Okay, so this rectangular waveguide, the cutoff frequency is directly a function of xnp dash. This cutoff frequency is a function of xnp dash. Okay, with the dimension a and square root of mu epsilon, material dependency is there, but it is directly dependent on this xnp value. Although it depends on a and b, so this will be constant. This will be changed for all the mode. Okay, this will be same for all the mode which is existing in that particular waveguide. Okay, this will be constant for that particular waveguide. So okay, so cutoff frequency will be changed only in xnp. So xnp, you can see this xnp dash fc is directly proportional to xnp dash. So if xnp is less, this cutoff frequency will be less. So in this table, you can say which of the following value, which of the value is least value. So this 1.841 is a least value. 1.841 is a least value. Okay, so 1.841 is a least value, and this value will give you the n and p. The p is 1 and n is 1. So this is for xnp dash least value, sorry, xnp dash least value of xnp dash, or you can say least value of xnp dash is equal to 1.841. Okay, that is at n equal to 1 and p equal to 1. Okay, that is the value we have. So that's why we call it as TE11 mode is a dominant mode, because we have TE in the format of NP now. So we can say TE11 mode is a dominant mode. Dominant mode. Okay, I hope you have understood these thing. So let me revise in a quick go. Yeah. So in the today's lecture, what we did is we have done the derivation for solution of wave equation in cylindrical coordinate, which we have already done for rectangular waveguide, and similar to that here. So circular waveguide is nothing but it is having a circular cross section that is having a dimension with in the coordinate axis is r, phi, and z. Okay, and that will result in a waveguide mode is a TE and TM mode, and the dominant mode for the circular waveguide is TE11, which you have seen here only. Solution of, if you want to find the solution of wave equation in cylindrical coordinate, first of all you need to take any solution. If you want any solution of wave equation, if you want, you first of all you take Helmholtz equation, try to just write the del S square in terms of differential equation, and take it out as a take a variable separable method, and using the variable separable method try to find out this separate solution. Okay, so solution will be in terms of all the variable which is present in that differential equation, and you try to find out all these differential, all these values, that's r, phi, and z, where we have found out x, y, and z. And after that you just you'll get to know that psi will be in terms of r, phi, and z, and that will get the solution. Here we have found out by taking consideration that the right hand side is a constant term, and taking into consideration the LHS will also be a constant, and by equating the constant term, that will be a one will be equated the gamma g, one will be equated the beta g, and that will be equated, and we got the differential equation, second order standard differential equation, and there we got a solution. By solving for r, capital R, that we got a Bessel function, and Bessel function will give you the solution. This is a standard Bessel function of order n, and that will give you, that is in second cylindrical coordinate system, and that will give you a Bessel equation in terms of r is equal to c n j n kcr, and d n n n kcr, and there we have their graph, and from the graph we found out that this Bessel second kind, Bessel solution of second kind, that is going to infinity, minus infinity at r equal to 0. So we cannot proceed with nn kcr. So we should take dn should be equal to 0, because the wave should be finite. So to have a finite solution, so dn should be equal to 0. So we will equate dn equal to 0, and we take trigonometric manipulation, and by taking trigonometric pollution, this can be also minimized. And here we can take the negative this e to the power minus gamma g into z, because wave is propagating in plus z direction. So we got a simplified solution here. Gamma is equal to gamma naught jn kcr cos n phi e2 minus j beta gz. Okay, this is the solution which we have got. Now we also went through that T mode in circular waveguide, and whatever we have the concept for the transverse electric mode, we can find out for the transverse electric mode, that is Ez equal to 0, and Sz should not be equal to 0 for the transverse electric, and we can have the Helmholtz equation, and by considering the solution Hz at some Helmholtz solution, in terms of Helmholtz solution we have taken, and by taking Maxwell curl equation, we can proceed with the curl equation, and by taking the matrix, the determinant form of the, and we find out the minor of these determinant. Okay, and by finding that minor, we got the sixth equation. By substituting del by del z is equal to minus j beta g, and substituting Ez equal to 0, we got again sixth equation. And in that sixth equation, we have only four equation that is important to us. And by solving these two equations, that substitution method, we can find out er, e phi, ez, and hr, h phi, hz. So er, e phi, hr, h phi in terms of hz, and we can substitute the boundary condition. So in the boundary condition, we can take the at inner surface of the circular wall, or you can the circular waveguide wall, the inner surface of circular waveguide wall, the tangential component of electric field E phi, and normal component of HR, that should be equal to 0 at r equal to a. That inner surface will be at r equal to a. So by having this term at r equal to a, we found out that del Hz upon del r is equal to 0, and we can find out the boundary condition that Gn Kca should be equal to 0. So G and dash KCA should be equal to 0. So there we have got this standard G and KCA, the roots of that equation. So where it will be 0, where it will be the Bessel function, where it will be 0. So that at these points, at these values of n and p, x and p, it will be 0. So we can substitute this, and we found out the solution in terms of x and p. Okay. So this is the solution, and these are the equations, these are the formulas. which we can use for the problem. Okay, so there we have a cutoff frequency, cutoff wave number, mode propagation constant, phase velocity in unbounded dielectric, guided wavelength, wave propagation, wave impedance, okay, and the propagation constant. So all these formula which we have, we can proceed with the, okay, so proceed with the problems. Okay, so we can go through these problems. I hope time is over now. Up to 3 o'clock we had a class. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's it for the today class. If any doubt, please let me know.